Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpacktrader training room for Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. All right, the market just opened. We have a get in sync. We have a get in sync here on the YM that you should definitely be in. And that just hit money management and target one. So there is a quick, let's see how big that was, big a target that was. 27 ticks, yeah, that's worth taking target one and stopping out for a tick. One and done on the YM this morning. All right. And there were questions in the Trade Hacking Club already about crude, so let's go ahead and take a look at that since the YM has done its thing. Looks like don't know if we would have been able to, if we would have gotten a pullback enough in there to get into this M2K Russell Micro or not, but that has hit target 3 and is trailing at 03.4. Okay, so let's take a look at how I would have played this morning's CL crude 9 a.m. session. I was actually trading the micro crude, which had a different look, but had different trades, but it was pretty similar look. And I got chewed up in the back and forth, but that's the trade plan is a 9 o'clock start, and the range bound. Yes, it was range bound in the first 5 minutes, but you don't know that on the right edge of the chart. So I would have been getting in sync. Actually, no, I wouldn't have been getting in sync with that short, because that went too far beforehand. I did get in sync with the short on the micro crude, but it hadn't gone that far. But anyway, so on the long, you'll notice. Okay, no, I'm back too far. Okay, so our first trade in the morning was this short. Oops. That was a get in sync. Notice that set up at 8:59:34, so 26 seconds before our start time. But at 9 o'clock start, we were up here, so plenty of time to 9 seconds to get a trade in at least. So plenty of time to get in that. So you should be short on the get in sync. Now you have 3 bars at print at 30 seconds after. Well, one at 29 and 2 at 30 seconds after. So that sets up and pops through up to hit to the stop here. That would have been a full stop out. And since that popped through, I'm going to, and it's in amongst the $98 level and the 200 EMA, I'm going to wait and see if that will come back and test I would wait and see if it tested the 20 SMA, because of the quick pop through, and you're flat, so you're not having to deal with a stop and reverse, as it did come up and hit your stop. And no, wait a minute, did it hit 08? We may have missed it by a tick. Nope, it hit 08. That's what I thought it did. So I actually would have avoided that short, just waiting for it to come back, because it popped through, and because of the $98 level and the EMAs up here. I would have waited for a test of the 20 SMA before I got in sync with it, which it did come down through the 20 SMA, but then set up this new short, which would cancel the long upon entry. So we have an entry at 97.87 that meanders around, hits target 1 and 2. Now we lost 2 positions. We lost 44 ticks. It was a 22 tick risk. We lost 44 ticks on the short. Wrong short again. Keep wanting to do that. We lost 24 times 2, 48 ticks on 2 positions on the short. Avoided the long. Hit both targets 1 and 2 on the subsequent short for 17 and 26, 43 ticks. So we're still down 5. So we're going to look for another trade, and that's this long. And we just managed to get to the trade that's going to make us some money today. But the only thing that the only art I would have used is just wait for a pullback to the 20 before getting back into this long, because you certainly wouldn't have had time to get into it as it went up through. You'd have been getting in as it came back down through, and it was back at the entry in about 10 seconds. But because of that and the EMAs where they are, I would have waited, and because we seem to be a bit range bound there, I would have waited for the test of the 20. So anyway, taking this short, we get 43 of the 48, leaves us -5. So we take our third trade. That nets us 17 and 27, 44 ticks. So we were 39 ticks positive on the session. And if you had trailed, that would have been a really nice trade. Trailing all the way up from 82 from 97.82 to 98.67. So what, 85 ticks? That would have been a nice trailer to be in. Sure. There you go. So here's our first short. That's the get in sync. As you got 9 seconds to right here. So you definitely would have a get in sync order in on that. That's from our start time, that is. This would have been a stop and reverse, but there's no way to have caught it because you had both those bars print in the same second, and you had a wick that hit your stop most likely before you could even react to this setup. So I would say that's going to be a full stop out. And because that's a full stop out and I'm not worried about a stop and reverse anymore, then I'm going to wait for the pullback and going up again. So then you pick up the second short, which is successful to both targets, and then the long successful to both targets and a positive session. Does that answer your question from the Trade Hacking Club, Michael? Yeah, you can see where we are now, and we're bumping through session highs. We're approaching $100 level again. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that for a 10 o'clock session in about 20 minutes. Unleaded gas. First trade was a get in sync short also. Are you looking at a CL chart or an MCL? Because the microcrude had something similar. So here's the microcrude. And this was the one that I was trading. And unfortunately, the microcrude didn't get a trade on that nice upswing. But it was already done by then anyway. First trade is the long at 858.18 long, I think. Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, 859.34. So it's almost the same trade. In fact, it is the same setup. Get in sync with the short. That popped through to the stop. It took 42 seconds to get up there, and I wasn't able to get the stop and reverse in, and it popped through to the stop. So I did exactly the same thing as I waited for a test of the 20 SMA. Which it got, but then I got the subsequent short. Now this one, unfortunately, this one didn't go very far. I'm sorry, this was the subsequent. It went for a full stop, and that actually was the end of the session. Now, but there's no indication coming into that it was going to be terribly range bound, and it does have a slightly downward drift to it, but it was just not in sync with where the market was at the time. So that would have been two full losses, and done with the day. Now this next short would have gotten a target 1 and 1 tick. But that's what would have happened there. And so your two losses would have been out here. That's not right. Yeah, this one and this one. Assuming you avoided the long here. If not, you exited at a stop and reverse here at 77, but you don't actually take the trade because your second loss is off of the long trade if you got into that. But that's how I would have played either one of those charts. Yeah, and see, by the time we get here, we are showing an oversold condition, so it's not going to. I'm sorry, yeah, an overbought condition rather, so it won't take the long here. But actually, if you look at that, both overbought and oversold indicators are positive. For one, two, three bars there. I actually have seen that condition more often on the micro crude than I have on crude. So that's something to watch out for a little bit. And then this short is a full stop as well out here. So just micro crude just not in sync with the market this morning. All right, while we're talking about all that, soybeans. Okay, that stops out of the get in sync trade without an entry right at the 930 bar. So, and then of course we're now you might have had a chance to get in sync with it on that next bar, because it looks like it came back to the entry. You don't know how quickly, and in that case, you have a really nice trade: 3 targets and a trailer right to trailer right to target 3. So strong one and done. If it was tradable, it's possible it was tradable. This bar was an 18-second close, so if it came down and you had 4, 5, 6 seconds maybe before it touched the entry, then you have the possibility to get in that. I think you'd have to probably run it at about a 3-second. I'd run that on maybe a 3 or 4-second bar. Let's take that and put it at the entry. And show a vertical line where the entry is. And let's do a 4-second. Okay, there's our entry. That's a bunch of dojis is what's going on there. So that comes up through at so yeah, it looks like should definitely have had a chance to get in there. There, interesting. No bar at okay, yeah, that closed it at 04. So yeah, well, that's right. There were no bars there. There was not any trading going on. But yeah, that would have been should have been tradable somewhere between 8 and 12 seconds after the session opened. So that should have been a get in sync. That yeah, I actually had set up just before the stop, which was and it was filtered because it was a stop in reverse, but then it hit the stop on that bar, then up and came back down at somewhere between 8 and 12 seconds to the entry. So definitely a tradable trade in a one and done session. Unleaded gas. And the Russell looks like it's heating up here. Where are we? Oh, wow, yeah. Full stop out likely on the short. That went too far in all like 3 seconds to some money management on the long. No trigger on the short. 2 seconds down to here. There's a fair chance you got ticked in up here on that and probably would have been a full loss. No trigger on the short. Very likely got you back in before hitting money management. So you get a break even off of that one. Five seconds on that bar. Two more. Yeah, so only 9 seconds to the money management. But depending on how in that 5 seconds, you may have had a good chance to get in. Target 3 and a nice trailer. So that should probably be good for power of quitting on that session. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, that's definitely a in and out stop. Okay, the short definitely gets in. And gets a partial trailer. The long two bars at 57. 5 seconds on that bar. Depends on when it hit money management. That could very well be a tradable trade. Target 3 and a reasonable trailer. So that's the end of the session there. Heating oil. Come back to 930 on that one. We have a short that should plenty of time to get in. Goes to full stop. 11 seconds on that bar, so chances are it was tradable. Goes to money management right through targets 3 and 4, and trails way up here. So entry there at 4096 to a stop at 4164. So 68 ticks on the trailer, and target 3 would have been 30 ticks. So that's 100 tick. That's a $400 trade. On 2 positions. No trigger on the short. No trigger on the long. Money management break-even stop on that short. No trigger short. Long. 13 seconds. Again, not right up to money management, so you have to take a look at timing on that. And another break-even. "12 seconds on from the setup to the close of the next bar on the short, but that also went to money management. So either of too fast or a break even. And this one, unfortunately, depending on timing, is probably a full stop out. Okay, this long would be a third loss, so that would end the session. But if not, you get this one that was not tradable. So yeah, that would end the session if it were me. And finally, there's the MQ. And we'll look at 8:34 start, wait 4 minutes, 8:34 exchange, so that's 9:34 on my timestamps. We get along right at start time, and it looks like it spikes to the entry and then it takes a while to come down. I would say that one's avoidable. And we have a short $9:35.12, 3 seconds, 3, 4. Yeah. I would say likely that is not tradable because you were 4 second. You had the second, third, and fourth bars all print at 4 seconds after, so that one's not tradable. This short is 5 seconds, and another bar. Same thing there. Two bars at 5 seconds after. That one gave you enough time. You might have gotten in. It's money management. Target 1, target 2. And would stop out. We'll see if it stops out on the long entry. Call that 29.50 for an entry. Stop and reverse entry. You can play it either way, either to make the 2-tick adjustment, or since the trade is already positive, go ahead and take it at the entry. Four seconds, you're already up here. Same second, you're a tick beyond the entry. And you have 2 bars at 4 seconds, and then you come back down. And that's unfortunately a full stop out. Seven seconds on that bar, again, looks like avoidable. That's really fast. MNQ being a really fast market. $12 seconds. This one's definitely a tradable trade. Target 1, getting money management, break even, and now trailing. Targets 3, 2, all 4 targets. And trailing to 65.75. 165.75 from 133. So 32 3/4 points on the trailer. So that's 32 points at $2 a point, almost 33. That's 32 is 64, 65, 50, 70, 65.50 just on the trailer for a single contract. plus whatever fixed targets you had, and you had the 156 tick fixed up here that hit. 39 points. So I would say a successful morning on the MNQ. Pound Aussie did its job on one this morning. First trade at 832. The short at 74.77. Hitting targets 1, 2, and 3. Actually, hitting all 4 targets. Hitting target 4 right on the nose before coming back up and stopping out at 74.53 from an entry at 74.77. So 24 ticks on the trailer, 15, 24, 33, and 42 on the fixed targets. So a nice one and done morning on the Pound Aussie. And whoops, we're into the 10 a.m. session here. Pushing into session highs and failure to get higher, I'm going to wait for that to test the 20. Coming in, not going to get in sync, just coming down, because it was at our start time. Well, actually, yeah. Depending on timing there, if I got in there, I'd be in it. If not, I would wait for a pullback to the 20, and we get the short. That gives us 2 targets of 18 and 29 for 47 ticks. What was our loss? So definitely POQ there on micro crude. And crude, same basic pattern. That sets up 9 seconds before where that one goes away. So that one is avoidable if you wait for the pullback to the 20 because of the failure to get higher. It broke partially through the session high and is pulling back. So I'd wait. I would want to see it test the 20 on that one. So I end up in the short. There again, it's a very small loss, even if you stop and revert, get in sync and do a stop and reverse, and you pick up 44 ticks on the 2 targets, which easily puts you POQ. Oh, I never did get to unleaded. So our first trade comes up right at our start time. And while the first few bars are too fast to deal with, you definitely have plenty of chances to get in. Doesn't get to target 2, so you get a partial out of it and are looking for the next trade, which is the long here. Gives you a 66 tick target and a bit more than that on the trailer. Stops out at 999 from the entry at 921. 78 ticks on the trailer, 66 on target. Plus you had 759, trailing down to 751. So you got 16 ticks there. So a nice session on unleaded this morning. So we have crude and micro crude did not do very terribly well. The YM was one and done. Soybeans was one and done. If you got that first trade, if you didn't get, actually, let's see what, if you didn't get that one, then you get this add-on trade that gives you targets 2 and 3, 2 positions at target 2, and trails to the same place. So you're one and done either way. On soybeans, basically everything except crude getting it done this morning. Questions this morning? Crude getting positive on the 10 a.m. session. The 9 a.m. session was problematic. Crude actually, with a little bit of finesse, would have gotten positive. If you avoid the initial stop and burst to long, all right, if you avoided that second trade, which was the long, then you would have been able to get to POQ. Let's take a look at what Catapult did on unleaded. 8:45 start. That is a New York traded commodity, so it is on Eastern time. So we're waiting for the short. Okay, you have 28 ticks or 28 seconds. And I don't know how fast that bar went through the entry. If it was tradable, that gets 4 nice targets. Target 3 or 4 would have been 38 or 48 ticks, and trailing all the way down to 791 from the entry at 888. So what, 97 ticks? About $410 on the trailer. And Target 4 would have been close to 200. And target 1 being 160 or so. So a good trade there. I think I would probably say that's enough. I'm not going to give back any. And here you go is with a short stop out, and then a break even short, and a winning long. So if you continued, here's another really nice trade. It's another 38 ticks on the target. Yeah, that's this crude chart is. Let's mark up the 10 o'clock trade that we got. Yeah, that's that one. So it was scaling on those, the marker lines. That was we had the short, the long, possibly avoidable, possibly in it, possibly avoidable. Not actually had 9 seconds to get in that. That may have been tradable on the crude. So you take the small loss, 76 down to that. So that would have been 62. So you take 14 ticks, 28 tick loss, and you get 44. Even if you, so you got 16 ticks, even if you took the loss on the stop and reverse. That was a pretty big trade. Yeah, that was 21 and 33 ticks for targets on the long. Let's see what this unleaded trade did. Went from 766 up to 984, 218 ticks. So that is a $900 trade. And that's just a trailer. Another 106. So that's $1,000 trade. Those two trades are definitely take it to the bank and come back tomorrow. Michael, the chart you sent me on trade hacking, put on the Trade Hacking Club, I can't bring up right now without losing what I've got on screen. So I can't see what the time frames are. Let me try something here. Interesting. And it's hard to tell the exact timing there. Okay, yeah, you got about the same thing. Okay, your chart didn't come up and actually stop out the short trade, whereas my data did. I got to 98.08 and it looks like you only got to about 98.07 on that bar. Can't tell for sure, but yeah, the initial to about 904. Yeah, that's the success. Yeah, that's your chart. Okay, you haven't got the the difference in the way the chart looks is you haven't got the spotlight colors on, so you're just getting green up bars and red down. But yeah, that's the first chart you sent me is exactly the same as mine, with the exception that it just didn't get up to the stop on the initial short. So you actually would have still been short on that one. And it looks like it took, I'd have to look at the timing, but looks like that would have been actually a little easier to avoid the long on that chart. And so you would have actually stayed in the short. And ultimately, still in the short, still in the short. Yeah, you'd have ended up with a target one on the original short, and trailing down the same place this trade did for trade number one, and then you pick up the long trade. Yeah, in the next, yeah, you pick up the long trade in your next chart. It's just like mine, basically. I just have it a little bit tighter. showing a few more bars. So yeah, those first two for full crude match up perfectly, or almost perfectly. And a tick here and there can make a difference, and that's exactly what's happened. Now you're on a TradeStation data server. I'm on NinjaTrader, or actually Kinetic data. So it looks like a tick difference. Okay, on the micro, looks like you have the same. Yeah, you just barely ticked into the long. That's pre-market. So yeah, this short is our get in sync. And we come up to the long and miss it. Yeah, your micro crude is considerably different than mine. Now you pick up a stop and reverse to long here. It looks like it probably doesn't reverse to short there, but does here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not showing you that. So this is your micro crude chart. I can't tell for sure the timestamps because obviously I don't get the data box. But here is our initial short trade. You don't trigger this long, but you do get in sync somewhere along in here. You do trigger. It looks like you do trigger this long, and probably don't trigger the short stop and reverse here. So you would be long still here until you get to here. That would actually be your second loss. And if you took that, it gets a target one and a break even. And then then you get no trade going up. So yeah, that's pretty close to mine, not terribly different. The look is quite a bit different because you haven't got spotlight colors on. So that's what I'm seeing on those anyway. It doesn't take much to get those changes. All right. Questions, comments? Am I not getting comments coming through? Let me close that and see if I get nothing there. Any other questions? Not a lot to look at. It's all POQ. All right. I don't. Somebody say hello in the chat, please, because I'm wondering if I'm disconnected from the chat. The last thing I have was at 9:42 this morning, almost an hour ago. And if I'm not acknowledging the chat, that you okay, there you go, Miles. All right, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I was still connected to chat. So it's still working. So unless there are further questions, I don't have anything more to talk about. Looks like crude and unleaded both heading up. At crude up over $100 again. Great range to be trading. Sometimes it goes through some consolidations that get us in trouble. It looks like the MNQ is kind of going sideways right now. All right, folks. Nobody's putting in any more questions. Michael, did I answer your questions fairly well to your satisfaction, or did you have anything else? Another up move on crude, and now M&Q is going down. I know what we haven't looked at. I saw a big up move on, big pre-market up move on the ES. There would have been a target 1 win and back to a break even. So that would have been a POQ session on the 8:35 session. Then at 10:30, it looks like it got in sync. Would have gotten in sync. So we were in this trade, and target is 37.75, and we got within 1 tick of target. We're 1 point above it, up from target now. Still just 1 point or 1 tick from target at the lowest. The only Forex pairs that I'm trading on, that I'm actually day trading, is the pound Aussie. And that's this chart in the lower left corner, which this morning with an 8:30 a.m. start, 8:30 New York time, first trade was a short that went through all 4 targets and picked up a trailer at about target 2. So one and done session this morning on the pound Aussie. And then it's had, that's power of quitting based on our trade plan rules. But then we had a target 1 win, and I would have, since we did get a winner, I wouldn't let it go. This is a major key level adjustment from 52 down to 49, but I would have left the stop at 52 after taking profit at target 1. So we would have gotten a target 1, and the rest of the positions come off with 1 pip. And then we get another short that goes through 3 targets, actually, and is still going. Current stop is at 7441 from an entry at 449. Okay, yeah, actually, you got a couple of pips there. Looks like we got up to 53 on the long, so got a couple of pips on the targets 2, 3, 4, and trail positions. So eight pips just on those positions, along with 12 on target. So you at least got 20 pips out of that trade. But this one over here got 15, 24, 33, and 42. So 39, 72, 114, plus another 24, so 138. And now we have 2 positions at target 2, so that's going to be 28, 20 at target 3, and we're trying to get down to target 4 for another 26 on this trade. Stop now at 36. 13 pips on the trailer so far. On the trailer, which currently has 2 positions still on it. The rest of the charts are U.S. market futures. We got the micro NQ, heating oil, micro Russell, full crude, micro crude on 8-tick range bars, micro ES on the 5-minute chart, and that did hit target 1. So the 10:30 session, or the 9:30 to 10:30 session, mini session on the micro ES will be POQ as well. That's a pretty good sized trade. Yeah, it's 10 points to target 1 at $5 a point. So that's $50 in the bank already on a single micro contract. We should have, yeah, the stop is at 47.50 and our entry was at 47.75. So now we'll start trailing that the 14 EMA. That's the YM range today. Yeah, we're been as high as 34,582. Opened at 34,234. So 350 points on the upside and 220 below the. So 500 plus point range on the YM today, since session opened at 5 p.m. yesterday. Thank you, Pamela. I do see your chat, letting me know that it's working. Crude at almost hitting another session high at $100.98. $6 and change range on crude this morning, or today, in the session since 5 yesterday afternoon. Mostly on the upside, it looks like. Only, 33 cents below the session low, only 33 cents below the session open. So most of the action on the upside today. All right. That's all the questions I see coming in. So we're coming up on 11 o'clock. So I would say I'm going to call it a morning. Troy will be in tomorrow with our regular Wednesday session and the crude oil inventory report session. And I will be back on Thursday. Please take a moment to smash the like button if you feel you're getting benefit from these sessions. And we will see everybody tomorrow.